This is a secret to make your relationship to last. I mean, if you have encountering untrust relationship in your relationship, you have encountering many problems in your relationship. I promise you will find the solution here today. Guys, we are going to be inciting you with how to rebuild trust in relationship. So, without not taking much time, so let's go. Let's jump right into it.
Today, we're going to dive into a topic that I know is really important for a lot of you: what it takes to rebuild trust with someone, especially when they've gone a long time without real intimacy. You know, it's a super delicate process, and it really all starts with understanding why they behave the way they do.
Does this sound familiar? Have you ever found yourself asking this exact question? It's so confusing, and honestly, it can be pretty painful. You feel like you're building something real, you start to lean in, and then boom, they pull back. Well, let's get into this because the answer probably has nothing to do with you and everything to do with a deep, hidden hunger.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to uncover what's at the root of all this, what we're calling the hidden hunger. Then, we'll look at the protective wall that gets built because of it. From there, we'll talk about the real key to connection, lay out 4 practical principles for rebuilding trust, and finally, look at what it feels like when things shift to a genuine, grounded presence. All right, let's do this.
Okay, let's start at square one. Before you can even think about a solution, you have to really, truly understand the problem. And the source material for this explainer calls that problem intimacy starvation.
You know, intimacy isn't just a nice-to-have thing. The sources are really clear on this. It's a core human need, just like food or water. So when that need for emotional safety, for real connection, goes unmet for a long time, it creates this state of starvation. It's almost like being deprived of a vital nutrient, and your whole system starts to react.
This quote just nails it, right?
This isn't some small thing. It fundamentally changes a person's entire emotional landscape, how they act, what they feel, and how they interact with the world. It forces them to build this kind of emotional armor, a protective wall. And that's exactly what we're going to look at next.
So, how does this intimacy starvation actually cause someone to pull away? Well, it makes them build that protective wall we were just talking about. From the outside, their behavior can seem totally confusing, but once you realize it's all designed to prevent more pain, it all starts to make a scary kind of sense. Now, what's so fascinating here is how contradictory these signs can look. I mean, one minute he might seem totally distant and shut off, and the next he might desperately need reassurance. This isn't some flaw in his character, it's a totally understandable reaction. His nervous system is just on high alert, 24/7, constantly scanning for any sign of connection or loss.
And this all leads to that classic push and pull dynamic. It's like this internal tug of war. The desire for closeness is huge, but the fear of getting hurt again is just as powerful. So he might pull you in, craving that connection, but the second it feels real, the second it requires him to be vulnerable, that fear just slams on the brakes and he pushes away to keep himself safe. So if you remember one thing, let it be this. When he pulls back, it is almost never a sign that he doesn't care. It is a defense mechanism. He's learned, probably the hard way, that opening up can lead to pain. So withdrawing becomes a survival strategy. And just understanding that can shift everything from a place of judgment to one of empathy. Okay, so we get the problem, we understand the why. Now what in the world do we do about it? This section is the big pivot point. It's all about shifting our approach, away from trying to create these intense, dramatic moments and toward building a foundation of real, genuine safety.
This is so important. Think about it. Grand gestures, big intense talks, those can actually feel really threatening to someone whose nervous system is already on high alert. What truly actually builds trust is consistency. It's the small, steady, reliable things you do day in and day out that prove over time that closeness is safe. It's that calm, repeated presence that finally suits the fear, not the big flashy moments that come and go.
And all those small, steady, reliable actions we were just talking about, they are all serving this one single core principle: emotional safety. This is the bedrock. It's the whole foundation. It's about creating a space where vulnerability is met with understanding, not with pressure or judgment. A space where he can finally, maybe for the first time, put down that armor because he knows he won't be punished for being real. That's the entire goal.
So, how do we actually create that safety? This brings us to the really practical, actionable part of this whole thing. We're going to walk through 4 key principles that are like a toolkit for rebuilding that trust. Let's break these down real quick. First, consistency. It's like an anchor in a storm. You just do what you say you're going to do over and over. Second, emotional safety. When he does offer a little piece of himself, you meet it with patience, not pressure. Third, genuine presence. This is about giving it time. As he feels safer, his guarded, calculated act will slowly fade and the real him will show up. And finally, clarity. You gotta move away from those confusing gray areas that just feed his fear.
And you know, when you start applying these principles, something really powerful begins to happen. A real transformation. This final section is all about what that shift looks like. That incredible journey from being guarded and on edge to feeling grounded and secure in the connection.
This timeline just maps it out perfectly. You see, it starts in that guarded state, where every move feels like a calculated risk. But then, through those small, consistent acts of safety, trust starts to rebuild. He gets to a point where he's not constantly questioning his own value anymore. And finally, he can just be. He arrives in this grounded state where his presence feels natural and authentic, not forced.
This comparison just says it all, doesn't it? It's the before and after. You can see this profound change. The relationship literally moves from being a source of anxiety to a source of security. He stops seeing intimacy as this huge risk he has to manage and starts seeing it as a safe and fulfilling part of his life.
And this right here, is the ultimate goal. When trust is finally rebuilt, the connection itself becomes a safe harbor. It stops being something that triggers panic or fear, and instead becomes this place that feels steady, reliable, and grounding for both of you.
So as we wrap up, let's just leave with this one final thought. This process is never about fixing someone. It's about creating a connection together where you both feel safe enough to be your authentic selves. So with that in mind, I want you to ask yourself, what is one small, consistent act of safety or presence that you can take today? Because that right there is where the real journey begins.